Shalom, shalom. I want to start off by saying, Call Halayim La, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash, Ma'amaf. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, who the word eagerly and willingly called God of Jehovah. Bahashem meaning in the name of. Yahweh Shai meaning he who delivers, who the word eagerly and willingly called JC today. I want to give a double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule well, and another double honor to my elder as well, Ahar Wan bin Yasha Allah of the Lion's Den Camp here in Jacksonville, Florida. Salutations to the 144,000 hopeful elect, pushing this truth across the four winds into the one-third remnant believers on Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. Shalom, shalom. It's going to be a quick lesson entitled Enter Ye at the Straight Gate, because we want to walk that straight and narrow path in these last days, because basically it's a lot of things out here that cause us to fall. A lot of evils, a lot of devices of men, and it's just a lot of ways to fall here in Babylon. It's easy to fall here, so we have to constantly pray and understand that Yahweh Shai is praying for us as well, and ask the Lord to guide our footsteps to be able to step over the glass, and watch out for the sticky birds, so we won't fall basically, or put our foot in the wrong place, or step on something that we're not supposed to be stepping on, but first precept would be Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. So, broad, the wide road, our people on that road now. I was listening to the radio on the way to work, and I was hearing about a woman. She won tickets to Mardi Gras. I believe it's Mardi Gras. Basically, what our people do there is just a whole bunch of fornication and adultery. Women walking around naked with body paint on, like their whole body paint, causing men to lust, or whatever the case may be. It's just a whole bunch of wickedness. And it's like, I never been, but I seen like on, TVs and pictures. It's just one big giant road in New Orleans that everybody's just walking on. And that road just remind me of like the wide road, because there's a whole bunch of partying and BSing and lust of the flesh and fun, or whatever the case may be, which our people, they love to dwell in, basically, because, it's fun, and sometimes fun ain't good for you. You got to enter in at the straight gate, go, being straight. So you're going to, when you come into the truth, basically, you're going to deny yourself and take up your cross and follow after Yahweh Bashim Yahshua in truth and sincerity. So you got to sacrifice the things that you used to do and, follow after the Lord, and it ain't going to be easy sometimes, especially if you come into this thing, after I ain't going to say after a life of sinning, but if you come into it after a life of sinning, you see the benefit of it, you're going to stay therein. But if you're a young man and you're not ready, it'll kind of be hard for you, because you'll see a lot of things going on unless the Spirit of the Lord really dealing with you. When the Spirit of the Lord really dealing with you, you understand evil and wickedness, like Jeremiah. But it says, verse 13, Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. So many gonna be on that wide road, and it's only gonna be few on that narrow road, walking by themselves, and falling out the Lord. Verse 14, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. So right, it's only gonna be few that that's on that road, the road to life, the kingdom of heaven. Man, reading this book, basically, and seeking out the wisdom of old, and trying their best, to follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road and make it to the kingdom like Dorothy. So Khan, I'm gonna get the next precept. It's 2nd Esdras chapter 7 and verse 2. And he said unto me, Up, Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. So the angel, I believe it was Uriala, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, brothers. But it says, And he said unto me, Up, Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. And put the case, the entrance was narrow, like a river. So Khan, man, you gotta basically go through the straits. It's a narrow path to make it to the sea. Make it to the sea. It says the sea is set in a wide place, a place that it might be deep and great. But put the case, the entrance were narrow and like a river. And Zan go, Salakia, who Zan could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? So right, you gotta go to the narrow, go through the straight to get to that broad. You gotta sacrifice yourself, take up your cross, and basically, present your body as a living sacrifice by not, doing the things that you used to do, and not doing the things that you see our people to do, whether it be fun, because we still in this flesh. I always tell myself, man, I never really had fun. So when I see people having fun sometimes, via Instagram or, TikTok, just seeing new things, or, just seeing people enjoy the world that was made for our sakes, it kind of make you mad, like, dang, I never really had fun. It was always the same thing, watching my parents work hard and can't really afford to take us places, and not being able to really do things. So, when you see it, you're like, dang, I want to have fun too. So you kind of get jealous, whatever the case may be. But you got to enter into the straight gate. Now that we come to it, because the Lord basically, He was saving us for a lot of things. That's why brothers live the life that they live, because the Lord was preserving us, to be ready to walk that straight gate, like it says in Wisdom of Solomon 3. The Lord speedily took us away, from the world and separated us, from our friends and family, that the ones that He's sent leanness into their souls. The Lord sent leanness into their souls. That's why they can't understand His word. But verse 6, there is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. So right, like the Dorothy followed the yellow brick road, and she was trying to get to Emerald City. So, and Dorothy represents Israel. You know what I'm saying? And it says, there is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things, right? The kingdom. Verse 7, the entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water. So right, you fall to the right, you might burn. You fall to the left, you might drown. So, you want to keep straight. You want to keep straight and follow that yellow brick road. Making it to the kingdom via, the scriptures. And take up your cross and follow after, the Lord's walk, because the Lord did it perfectly. So now we want to be joint heirs with Him. So we got to walk the same walk He walked. And it's gonna be hard, but at the end of the day, we're gonna benefit when we get to that broad. When we get to that field. That is full of all good things. But it says, verse 8, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be one man go there at once. All right, man. So it's a small fit. So you gotta walk that tightrope. You know what I'm saying? And when you walk in that tightrope, if you mess around and look to the right, look to the left, you might fall. If you look down, you know what I'm saying, you might fall. So you want to look straight, and walk that tightrope and keep your eye single, because you might see something that somebody else doing, and it might cause you to fall. You see what I'm saying? Now, that's what we pray to the Lord to keep His servants from presumptuous sins. Basically, falling and keep doing the same thing over and over again. That's why we had the Lord Yahushua to pray and ask Him for repentance. But it says, it's so small that there could but one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for inheritance, if he never shall pass a danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? Right, we're gonna have to go through, the straits, man. When it comes down to it, we're not gonna take the devices of the wicked. I'm gonna say that in every video, even if this is a video about exhortation or whatever the case may be. I'm always talk about that. We ain't gonna take the devices of the wicked, so we're gonna be homeless out here. We're gonna be poor out here, but we're gonna be happy. You see what I'm saying? We're not gonna have to worry about bills and stuff, and because we done put it in our hand and basically, followed after the wicked, ran down there to Egypt for help, for food and water. We're gonna stay on the Lord, and we're gonna trust in the Lord in these perilous times that's coming. The martial law, the race wars, the famines. You see what I'm saying? Before we even get to the race wars and the famine, we're gonna have to, be homeless like the people we see downtown in tents and stuff, because we decided not to take it, the chip. And when it come down to it, then that's when they're gonna come down on, on us having great wrath, because they know that their kingdom is falling. And in that time, we're gonna have to look straight, enter into the straight gate, and just trust in the Lord. So we're gonna have to, what it says, verse 9, if this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? And I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. So, right, this is Israel's portion, the elect of the nation of Israel that's going to make it to the kingdom, that confess the name of Yahushua in the world. But it says, verse 11, because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. So right now we got to go through it, because the curses that was put on Adam, the curses that was put on Eve, the curses that was put on the serpent. So the curses that was put on Adam, we feeling it today. You see what I'm saying? The men of Israel. So now we basically had to go through straits. Verse 12, then were the entrances of this world made narrow, right? So the entrance of this world was made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful, right? And these are things that we got to walk past. That's why you don't want to look to the right or look to the left. Well, you want to, you don't want to stay on the right-hand side of Yahweh Shemel Shah. But I'm saying like that narrow road that we put the fire on the right-hand side and the water on the left-hand side. You don't want to get burnt and you don't want to drown. So you walking that tightrope. You're looking straight at that kingdom that you see glowing at the end of the tunnel. That's what you're walking. That's what you're walking towards. But it says, verse 12, then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful, right? How our scripture said, "O Adam, what hast thou done?" But now we got Yahushua, at the, walking with us in the midst of that tunnel, walking behind you, pushing you. You know what I'm saying? He guiding the way, leading the way at the same time. So now we got we got Yahushua for comfort, man. Because he went through the same things that we went through. So he like a guide. He like our tour guide. And it says, verse 13, for the entrances of the elder were wide and sure and brought immortal fruit. So come on, man, but we basically got to go through it. We had to go through it because, of the transgressions of our forefathers. But at the end of the day, we got the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shah. Verse 14, if then they that live labor not to enter these straits, in vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. So, right, our people that's on that wide road, they're not going to understand what we got going on. They're not going to understand why we living our lives a certain way. Boosie and Charleston White. Boosie saying, man, if I can't eat pork, you know what I'm saying? And Charleston White, I remember he did a video like a year ago. He was like, yeah, the Hebrew man got that woman up in the house. They can't do nothing. They can't fuck. They can't do this and that. But it's just like, man, we trying to make it to the kingdom, you know? Well, we going to do everything in righteousness. You know, you want to do everything in wickedness on this side. That's why only few there be that's going to find that narrow road and be able to walk it. You know, while 2/3 of our people on that broad road, and they don't even want to look at they don't want to look at the narrow road because it's not fun for them. You know, they can't do the wickedness that they've been doing. See what I'm saying? But this is Luke chapter 13, 23 through 28. Then said one unto him, Lord, are there few that be saved? And he said unto them, this is Yahushua speaking, are there few that be saved? Strive to enter in at the straight gate, for many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able to. Right. Verse 13. When once the master of the house is risen up and have shut the door and have shut to the door, and ye begin to stand without and to knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. And he shall answer and say unto you, I know ye not whence ye are. So, right, you know, 2/3 of our people that's on that wide road and straight wickedness and in these church houses not learning the truth, you know, hissing at the man of the Lord, you know, despising us, don't care to receive the proper oil, the proper wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, but you know, want to trust in wickedness and trust in oppression and stay thereon, they're going to be knocking at the Lord's door. Like, you know, they're going to be, you know, all hell break loose. They're going to be praying, you know, and the Lord not going to hear their prayers. They're going to be praying, asking for guidance and wisdom, knowledge, understanding, but they didn't care to get that wisdom, knowledge, understanding, you know, when we was out there on the street corners or whatever case may be. So they're going to be out there on their own, all hell breaking loose, you know, all type of creatures that the Lord done created. You see what I'm saying? They see all this happening. Now you got somebody hiding under a bridge somewhere, judgment just waiting to meet them, and now they asking for wisdom, knowledge, understanding. You know, like when Noah was prophesying for 120 years, saying it was gonna rain, for 120 years, but our people they didn't care to hearken to his voice. They just wanted to eat, drink, giving it to marriage. And then when it started to rain, everybody tried to run to his boat, on the Lord's boat, his ark, and the Lord shut the door. He had the angel shut the door basically, and they couldn't get in. You see what I'm saying? They eventually drowned. You know, the Lord killed millions of people, only saved 8 people. But it says, verse 25 again, when once the master of the house is risen up and have shut to the door, and ye begin to stand without and to knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. And he shall answer and say unto you, I know ye not whence ye are. So, right, you didn't have a personal relationship with the Lord. So the Lord he's not gonna be with you. But us, we had that personal relationship with the Lord where we actually talk to the Lord and vex because of the things that, you know, the flesh, you know, so we had that. So it's like you build up a certain love for the Lord, and the Lord, you know, and it's the same. Like, I would say likewise, you know, the Lord show forth that love to us back, you know. But it says, that's why you be going through it, and then you're like, man, I'm finna go read, and the Lord will lead you to exactly what you know what I'm saying, what you need to hear at that time. And you might feel like SHIT, you might feel bad, you see what I'm saying? But the Lord is building, you know, putting wisdom in us, and He's giving us that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Verse 26, then shall ye begin to say, we have eaten and drunk in thy presence, and thou hast taught in our streets. But he shall say, I tell you, I know you not whence ye are. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. Right? You were sitting in church house your whole life. You know what I'm saying? Having a church feast, eating pork all in the church. You see what I'm saying? Claiming that you love the Lord, hooping and hollering, dancing, tapping of the feet. You know, when that music come on, and then you basically trusting in the Nicolaitans. You know, listen to the doctrine of the Nicolaitans. You see what I'm saying? But when you see the men on the street corners preaching, you would sit on the side and stay in your tent and walk around and try to basically, everybody that's listening to us, you want to try to preach to them and pray with them and stuff like that instead of, listening to the truth. It's going to be a recompense for that. You're going to be, when all hell break loose, you're going to be knocking at the Lord's door thinking that you're finna get some, saved. It's a scripture on that. They'll basically say, arise and save us. That's what they're going to, ain't seek the Lord their whole life, but when all hell break loose, they're going to say, arise and save us. But he shall tell you, verse 27, but he shall say, I tell you, I know you not whence ye are. Depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, when ye shall see Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all the prophets in the kingdom of Yahweh, and you yourselves stressed out. Right? They're going to see the elect getting beamed up in chariots. You see what I'm saying? The same man that they call bum black Hebrew Israelites on the streets. They're going to see us comforted, when all hell break loose and eventually, get beamed up into a chariot. And they're going to be, what I'm saying? Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, so far beyond all that they hope for, and be thrust out. They're going to be left here to burn when the missiles hit. In the grand scheme. But it says, verse 29, and they shall come from the east and from the west and from the north and from the south and shall sit down in the kingdom of Yahweh. Right? The Lord going to snatch up his elect from the four corners of the earth. And we're going to basically go into the chariots. We're going to be saved. But our people, it's going to be weeping and gnashing the teeth. Ultimately, when they take that brain thing and that hand thing, you see what I'm saying, and can't die, trying to seek immortality on the left-hand side. And so you getting burnt by those missiles. And the Lord going to lead you there till it ain't no flesh there. And then He going to call your spirit up. But us, on the other hand, it says, and they shall sit down in the kingdom of Yahweh. So, right, we're gonna make it to, we're gonna walk that straight and narrow path, and we're gonna make it to the kingdom at the end of the tunnel, and we're not gonna fall by the ain't gonna be burnt by the fire, and we ain't gonna fall, and drown in the water. We're not gonna be hurt by the second death, but our people ultimately, they gonna be hurt by the second death. And I'm gonna get this last precept. And so, like it, pray that this lesson was edifying. 2nd Esdras chapter 2 and verse 42. I, Esdras, saw upon the Mount Sion a great people whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, in which I marveled at greatly. So, right, that's Yahweh Shai, basically setting crowns upon all our heads. So, like, did I read that? I, Esdras, saw upon the Mount Sion a great people. The Lord set crowns upon all our heads. Lord, when I'm a part of that number, and the brothers across the four corners of the earth that teaching truth and sincerity, the brothers at Lions Den, as well, But Yahweh Shai gonna set crowns upon our head, and it said Esdras marveled at it greatly. In verse 44, so I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? And he said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and have put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh. Now are they crowned with psalms. So, right, we confess the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahshua in the world, and now we're gonna be crowned. We're gonna have those new bodies, and we're gonna make it to the kingdom. Verse 46. Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowned them, and giveth them psalms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of Yahweh, whom they have confessed in the world. Then begat I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. So, right, and that's just what it's gonna be. We standing stiffly for the name of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshua week in and week out via these lessons and in highways and byways, whether it be on and off camera. We let the world know what we stand for, and they can't understand it. You see what I'm saying? They can't understand it at all, but that's why when all hell break loose, the Lord we're gonna be comforted. Whether we poor, whether we have on rags, man, we're gonna be comforted because we know that the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua is gonna guide our footsteps all the way to the kingdom. He's gonna cause us to walk that tightrope. We're gonna walk that tightrope, and we're gonna do it to the best of our abilities. Take up our cross, and the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua is gonna comfort us. I pray that this lesson was edifying. Shalom. On to the next.